Good morning. Okay, I was stopped again in chapter 6 of Genesis. We are making progress here, but this is ultimate cool. This is really, really cool. So I had to tell you. Okay, so I was reading from verse 5 to verse 8 of Genesis. Okay, now I'm just going to read it to you a little bit and then stop you when it gets like way cool. Okay, it's all really good, but anyway. Then the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great on the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts, it's an imagination, of his heart was only evil continually. That word continually is yom, or yom, all day long. And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And the Lord said, I will blot out, wipes out, man whom I have created from the face of the land, from man to animals, to creeping things, and to birds of the sky, for I am sorry I have made them. The word also, going back to the word intent thoughts, that is actually a corrupting of the land as well. It's like using their imagination to corrupt the land. It actually denotes the wasting of seed, which is going against God. I mean, he told us to go forth and multiply, so we're corrupting the land. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, so that is, that's where I need to be. That's where I want to tell you about. That's what stopped me. So there is something in Hebrew thought called the first mention. I'm just noticing this fan up above. Okay, see this right here? Okay, my husband's fixing our fan, so okay, don't let that bother you anymore. Okay, first mention, back to that. Now, there is the first, this word, but Noah found favor. Okay, favor is 2580 in the Strongs. And that means, that's the word chen, and that means grace. Grace, kindness, favor, acceptance, unmerited favor, or regard in God's sight. Okay, that's important. And then the rest of the verse says, okay, but Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, the word eyes is the word ayin, and it means, and that's from Strong's 5869, and it means an eye, spring, fountain, well, a source, a water well, oversight of the Lord, and the initial source of opinion. Okay, an eye, when we cry, what do we bring forth? You know, tears, right? So this is a source of water. All right, and an ayin is also in Hebrew, one of the Hebrew letters, and it represents number 70, and it means eye, watch, experience, know, and shade, like shadow of his wing. Okay, so I was mulling through this 8th verse. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So I just kind of wrote it out a little differently and wrote, but Noah attained grace and unmerited favor in the source of pouring out of the eyes of the Lord. So the Lord's source of pouring out favor and blessing of refreshment can be both a renewed refreshment, okay? So his source can be a renewed refreshment, like a drink, or a destructive, erasing judgment, wiping out. So the eyes of God can pour out both unmerited favor, grace, a refreshing drink, like next to a stream, and or strong judgment, death. The same eyes, which is the source of opinion, that's the very source of opinion, is his eyes, can bring forth a spring or an eruption of floods. So he can both refresh with water or renew completely. He either offers renewal of spirit, like regeneration of spirit, or encouragement, right? Or death, burial, and resurrection. And this is displayed in baptism. In the Hebrew, that's called a mikvah. Just as he placed the earth in the water, right? Like we step in the water for baptism. Just as he placed the earth in the water, or the water upon the earth, and for a complete mikvah, baptism, death, burial, and resurrection, he can do that as well. So this is the same picture. And he did this with the earth. He placed the earth completely under the water for a death and a burial. But then he receded the water for a resurrection, right? If you continue reading, it says that Noah was found righteous and blameless, and he walked with God. And when I looked up the word walked, that's 1980 in the Strongs, that can mean walking with the flow of a river, like walking along the path of a river. And who is the living water? Yeshua. So he is walking. So the rest of the world followed their own imaginations, to and fro, whatever. But Noah walked with the river. But they had their own imaginations, thoughts, and corruptions. So this had all to do with the earth. And the entire earth required a death to itself, a mikvah. And this seems to be a forced mikvah. Based on the eyes of the Lord. But now, the death, burial, and resurrection has been performed by the source of the fountain, Yeshua himself. Now, we must recognize our need to identify with that death, burial, and resurrection. We require a drowning, a mikvah, a baptism into his death, burial, and resurrection. The baptism in the name of Yeshua, the Father and the Holy Spirit. Once we are made as a new creation, we can drink of the fountain of life and be renewed in the Spirit as we walk along the flow of the river. We can always just stop and get a drink of Him and get renewed again. We don't have to face that destructive water. He did that for us. And now we are identified with His mikvah. Anyway, that was awesome. I had to share that. Okay. Just have a blessed day. And enjoy this day and enjoy the drinks as you walk along the river. Because you can just always stop and get on your knees and just drink fully. All right. Well, the Lord bless you. Y'all have a great day.